during a press conference and continues to talk as if he's the president's lawyer. That is not the Attorney General's job. I think he has lost most of his reputation with the way he's conducted himself. The president is not above the law, and I don't accept the notion that because the president is the head of the executive branch, he can't ever obstruct justice in connection with the executive branch activities.
Do you think he had criminal intent based on what you have seen now in the Mueller report?
It sure looks like he did in connection with a couple episodes.
Here now, Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff under President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. Xochitl Hinojosa is DNC Communications Director. Xochitl, welcome. Good to see both of you. Karl, good evening to you. Karl, I guess my first question is, why is Jim Comey doing town halls? You know, why? He's the former FBI director, fired 2 years ago. Why is he doing those?
Are you asking me?
I am.
Darned if I know. Look, this guy is tone deaf. He goes out there and opines about obstruction of justice by President Trump. Look, this guy messed it up. He was the guy who was presiding over the investigation of Hillary Clinton and took an authority that he did not have to make the decision as to whether or not she should be charged. That was up to the Attorney General, not the director of the FBI. But he made that determination, and he did so before he even interviewed her. And then, after he decided that he was not going to charge her, which again was not his right to make, that was the Attorney General's responsibility, he then trashed her, which we do not do in this country. If you decide not to indict, you shouldn't be out there trashing her. And then he intruded at the end of the election. And then he presided during the election over an FBI that we now know in retrospect was staffed with people like Peter Strzok, who were vehemently anti-Trump and were involved in sensitive matters involving the investigation of the Trump campaign. So, look, this guy messed it up. Why he thinks that we want to listen to him now is beyond me. This guy has done enough to offend Republicans and Democrats alike. Maybe he ought to go back and wait and let the FBI reputation be, or the activities of the FBI under his time as the director be investigated by the independent.
Which it is. I mean, it may be that he just wants to get out in front of what he's concerned is coming, because obviously there's a big report coming out in May and June. So based on everything that James Comey, the former FBI director, laid out there, he did say several times, that there's a potential roadmap there, that Robert Mueller's report is a roadmap, many have said, for Congress to follow. So if this is the case, why isn't Congress pushing for impeachment?
Well, I think that what Congress wants is the full report, and we've said that all along.
And the reason why is out. They could go see it any day of the week, and none of them have gone to see it.
So what they need to see is the unredacted report. They need to study it, and they need to see the underlying evidence. And the reason why is because
that the unredacted report, 99.9% of Volume 2 and like 97% of Volume 1 is all available to these members of Congress, and yet they have not chosen to take the time to go look at it. You know that, right?
Well, they are going to do that. They're going to conduct oversight, and once they do all of that, then they will make a determination on the best path forward. I think jumping right now to what the end result is without finishing your investigation, I think that that's not what they want to do. They want to look at the full thing. They want to see the underlying evidence. They want to talk to Bob Mueller, and from there, then they will decide the appropriate action.
It's been going on for 2 years, and they were so excited that Bob Mueller was going to take it over and be the special counsel. Karl, he investigated it for 2 years. I mean, Karl, just step back and look at the political question here. Do they want to impeach or not? And if they don't want to impeach, what is with all of these subpoenas and all of this sort of dragging this across? Go ahead.
Look, sure they want to impeach. Adam Schiff says and continues to say he has evidence of collusion, of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. You have Jerry Nadler saying the president engaged in obstruction. They're not. This is all drama. This is all pyrotechnics. This is all for show. They have already made the determination that the president violated the law. They just don't have the guts to go forward with an impeachment resolution. And you're absolutely right when you raise the question about the Mueller report. They could go look at it. They could have gone 10 days ago to look at it. They could have gone to looked at it and come back and said, you know what, there are things in the report that need to be revealed to the American people, but they don't go and see it because they know that what they're likely to read in the redacted redacted part of that has little or no impact on the outcome. It involves sources and methods of intelligence, ongoing investigations that are peripheral to the president, and it includes grand jury information. So they could go look at it, but they won't. But they will continue to say, as Nadler, Schiff, Maxine Waters, and others have said, the president is guilty of impeachment and should be removed from office. We're just not ready to file the motion to do so.
You know, let me ask you a question, because someone raised this point who's, you know, I thought was very interesting. You know, do you really think that Bob Mueller and his team would have buried the really juicy stuff underneath a few redacted sentences? I mean, don't you think that if they had the goods, that they would have just put them out there, that they wouldn't be hiding it?
I'm sorry, what part of obstruction and evidence of obstruction is not serious? That is extremely serious. What exactly was the president? What exactly was the president hiding? And I think that Bob Mueller makes very clear in the report. I don't think that Donald Trump being frustrated in the Oval Office because things aren't going his way is an excuse for obstruction. I'm sorry.
No, but he didn't find
president
obstruction.
should get away with this.
He didn't find obstruction.
That was very clear. No, that's not what he said. It was very clear in the report that he said that he didn't come to a conclusion when it looked like the evidence looked like obstruction.
So you imagine that if it was very clear to a team of 19 lawyers and Robert Mueller that they would have been able to reach some kind of conclusion, but apparently it's very clear to everyone else.
But that's because of the Justice Department precedent not to indict a president.
They said that wasn't related. They didn't use that. They didn't use the OLC decision in their process. I got to go, you guys. I'm running out of time.
In the report.
We will continue. Sochi, thank you very much. Sochi Hinosa, Karl Rove, thank you guys. Big debate. Good to see you both. Coming up next, an entire American city held hostage by hackers demanding ransom. This is no joke. The police department, all of the systems, the Board of Elections affected. Nobody knows what to do. right, Fox News alert tonight. A major accident in the Houston Ship Channel. 2 barges collided with an oil tanker carrying thousands of barrels of gasoline component chemicals. One of those barges has flipped over. Not that one, it's the other one. And then you're going to see this giant hole in the hull. And this one is taking on water. Early reports say there could be as many as 25,000 barrels of chemicals leaking into the ship channel. Those chemicals are called reformate. They're flammable. They are toxic to sea life. There have been reports from some of the nearby towns that they are starting to get a strong petroleum smell that is wafting off the water, likely the result of this accident. We also just got video of what we believe could be the ship that crashed into the barge. You can see the damage on the front of this hull. At this point, it is still afloat, but we will keep you posted if we get more out of Houston tonight. In the meantime, how about this in Baltimore? The entire city government has been held hostage to cyber terrorists since Tuesday. They are still trying to find answers here as employees are getting this message on their computer screens. What happened to your files? We've encrypted your files with our public key. You must send us Bitcoin for each affected system. That's the ransom plea. Leland Vitter, live with the new details on the hackers' demands tonight. Incredible. Hi, Leland.
Hey, Martha. Yeah, add this to the very long list of problems, not only for the city of Baltimore, but the citizens as well. They're using a program called Robinhood, and the hackers, according to the local CBS station, they are now being investigated by the FBI. Ransomware attacks are named because they're akin to ransom kidnappings, except with computers, the hackers demand payment to either turn the computer systems back on or give you your data. You showed the computer screens of a couple of the employees, and this is who is effective. The hackers want $76,000, but the mayor says they are not paying it. This is the mess that it's causing. The police email system isn't working. The emails and voicemails for the city council aren't working. The Public Works Department has suspended late fees on water bills because of problems paying and taking those bills. The mayor there put out a statement. He said that people were able to get their cars at the towing yard, come in and pay in cash or money orders, or they can mail their payments in. So the city is functioning, according to the mayor, talking to the CBS station. We're doing it a different way, and the citizens of Baltimore are not being affected. Some folks might dispute if having to come into the city and do things manually is not being effective, but this highlights ransomware attacks around the country. Last year, the FBI reported nearly 1,500 ransomware victims who lost a total of $3.62 million. Those are the people who paid. The city of Atlanta that got hit in a similar way to Baltimore, the city there refused to pay, just like in Baltimore. It cost $17 million to recover the data in Atlanta. Specific to that Atlanta attack, the DOJ indicted 2 Iranians. And Martha, this always brings up the question of either state actors or quasi-state actors attempting to test U.S. systems for a larger, wider scale attack coming up.
That's exactly the concern. And that is why we do this story, because you just think about what the people in Baltimore are going through, magnify it across big swaths of the country, and try to imagine what that would be like. Leland, thank you very much. Nick Mosby is former Baltimore City Councilman, Maryland State Delegate, and a network engineer. You have all the right qualifications, Nick, to tell us about this. So explain to us, how bad is this? And could it be that they are testing systems like this in order for a larger attack?
Well, it's first and foremost, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
It's extremely disruptive to the citizens of Baltimore and to the city of Baltimore, and that's the point. The point is to kind of bring institutions to our knees. I mean, let's be very clear that these individuals, how there's been a focus on hospitals and cities and other municipal and public services, but this also affects corporations as well as individuals. I mean, basically any end user, any active device that's connected to the internet has the ability of being hacked in and potentially having some of this malware.
Now, a lot of the companies, as Leland reported, they pay ransom. They want the whole thing to be kept quiet. They pay thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, according to that. Is that a mistake for them to pay this ransom when they need to get their company back up and running?
Well, it is a huge mistake, and unfortunately, a lot of companies go undetected. I mean, these are only the companies that we know about that are reported on. But imagine the public embarrassment around this. But when you pay for this immediately, you're emboldening this type of behavior. I mean, this is someone that's literally committing a crime, and you're kind of paying them for their action to release you from that particular crime. And more importantly, you can pay out the money, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be acting in good faith and provide you with the right set of encryption keys to get your system back in place.
Right.
So what this does do.
Yeah, I gotta leave it there. Thank you, Nick. I'm sorry, we're out of time. Nick Mosby, we wish you luck, and we'll keep posted. We'll keep looking at it. Thanks, Nick Mosby. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
So coming up next, I had an incredible opportunity on Tuesday night. If you might have noticed, I wasn't here. I was with these folks. You'll see why coming up next.
Welcome to Atlantis, where you can find true Bahamian spirit and rediscover each other on an island called Paradise at a place called Atlantis.
Book a complimentary 5th night at AtlantisBahamas.com or call 1-800
week of hosting the World War II Foundation's 75th D-Day event at the French Embassy, remembering the heroes who landed on the beaches of France in June 6, 1944, those who came home and those who did not. Purple Heart recipient Senator Bob Dole received a leadership award, and several other World War II veterans were honored with the French Foreign Legion Medal, a very high honor for their bravery and courage to end a war and free a continent. Watch this.
I am so proud to be here tonight with all of you to support the World War II Foundation and show my gratitude to those men who we honor tonight, especially Senator Dole, for whom I had the honor of serving as an intern when I was in college.
The World War II Foundation is honored to present our 2019 Leadership Award to Senator Bob Dole, who not only served his country during the war years of 1941 to 1945, but also returned home and made sure the legacy of his generation and that of his fellow soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen would never be forgotten. They do this so that future generations understand the sacrifices made by those who fought and survived and those who never came home from World War II. Senator Bob Dole served with the famed 10th Mountain Division in Italy in World War II. As we all know, he was seriously wounded in combat in the Po Valley. The medics who treated Bob Dole did not think he would live. Obviously he did, and spent the rest of his life in public service to his country from the great state of Kansas.
I still do a little public service. I go to the World War II Memorial every Saturday for the past 9 years and greet veterans. And anymore, there are not too many of us, World War II. And there's some of us still kicking around. I'm only 95. And I can give you my recipe if you want. But again, I want to say thank you. You probably don't deserve it, but I'll take it anyway.
I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt thanks to you, veterans of World War II, who are honoring us with your presence tonight for your selfless participation in the liberation of my country. The Legion of Honor has been France's highest national order and once one of the most coveted distinctions in the world. Indeed, French and American soldiers have long fought side by side, often paying a heavy toll in blood, and will still do.
Donald Keller landed on Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944. He took part in numerous combats, notably at St. Lo, where, despite his wounds, he distinguished himself by saving the lives of 2 fellow soldiers.
Tonight, we have the opportunity to honor some of them once more, to serve the purpose of making sure that America never forgets these heroes, without whom the world would be a very different place. I recently went to Iwo Jima to see where my uncle died at the age of 18, to further my understanding of the Pacific battles, and in part so that my family will remember his sacrifice for generations to come, and hopefully a broader audience will pause and marvel at the everyday heroes, many like my Uncle Harry Gray, who was just out of high school, who gave up everything for their country, and to secure freedom for those who got to live and go on. I had read Douglas Brinkley's The Boys of Quantahock and teared up with the rest of America when President Reagan spoke on the 40th anniversary of D-Day. Standing on the cliffs at Normandy, he said,
"Behind me is a memorial that symbolizes the Ranger daggers that were thrust into the top of these cliffs. And before me are the men who put them there. These are the boys of Quantahook. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. These are the heroes who helped end a war."
Remarkable heroes. We'll be seeing some of them again in less than a month when many of them in their 90s will make the trip to Normandy, France. The story will be there as well in honor of the 75th anniversary of D-Day. So when we come back, one of Facebook's founders, Mark Zuckerberg's college roommate, they shared a tiny room together, now says that the whole idea is bad for America, and it's time for the government to split up Facebook. Ladies' Night is up next.
Mark! He's wired in. Sorry? He's wired in. Is he? Yes. How about now? You still wired in?